definitely, I could not agree with you more. But actually, I think the point that I was trying to get out from you, Doctor, is here in Sri Lanka, stage theatre is not considered something like really profitable or as an industry. Especially when you take the English theatre, for example. I know now when you take Sinhala theatre, it's way more popular than English theatre in Sri Lanka, this being a majority Sinhalese country. If you take English theatre, for example, I've been involved in a few plays myself and different productions. It's a close niche, close fit community. And one thing you kind of realize is nobody does it as a profession. It's not very profitable. Probably because the audiences for it is also low. But how is theatre as a profession in India?
At the very beginning, I think we will not use the word profession, because let's say that theatre is there's a satisfaction to it. It's a different kind of satisfaction. If you start equating it with the economics and things, that I think it's a universal thing that theatre never pays back, unless there are some countries which where you can pay your actors and on a regular basis and people can be employed. But
of course, in an international context, there are many plays which are taken internationally. For example, there are theatres that go across different countries, European countries. They go to Australia. Even just yesterday or day before, a friend of mine was telling me that she watched Henry IV in Australia, which was brought down from London, which was actually sold out. And of course, they do take these theatres internationally. So there is some sort of professionalism as an industry in certain parts of the world. Has India got there, or is it?
No. I think India is very much there, because the first thing which I would talk about India is that there is nothing like an Indian theatre. There is nothing that you can call an Indian theatre, because our country is so vast, it's so rich and so vibrant, and it's so strongly embedded in the roots of folk forms, and it has such a long tradition of this kind of expression through theatre, that what we have in India is a collage of regional theatres. So if I talk about my state where I come from Maharashtra, it's there for more than 170 years, and then something happens in another state, and something happens in another state, and every 100 kilometers you move, there is a different kind of expression. There is a theatre happening there, and maybe it's just a change of the dialect and a new form emerges from it. So I think there's a lot of vibrancy there. As far as travelling and collaborations are concerned, definitely it is not being done at the rate, like you say, where you have European plays being staged across. But there's definitely an excitement about the kind of performances which are coming up in India, and invitations, because I'm not sure about Sri Lanka, but Indian theatres also find it difficult to travel or to fund their own travel grants, and it can be a big load, because we have a very strong verbose kind of theatre where you have troops of maybe a minimum of 5, and it can go on to 11, and to fund this kind of thing, travel abroad, is definitely taxing for us, no doubt about it.
I see. Also, I just want to ask you, out of curiosity, of course in India Bollywood is huge. Bollywood is huge, right? And you get like a lot of actors who are quite famous across the globe, especially Bollywood being a huge cinema industry. Now, if you were to take the actors who take part in stage theatre activities in India, do they really go into cinema as well?
If you really trace the origin, I wouldn't really call it, sounds very historical, but if you really trace the journeys of many of the top actors, I think their set off point has been theatre. And very unfortunately, if you look at it from the flip side, theatre is used as a launching pad to go on to serials and cinema and so on and so forth. And it is not only the creative satisfaction, it's also the whole story of economic viability, to make it more economical viable, because Doordarshan or tele films, like they call in Sri Lanka, and cinema pay positively much more than theatre. But so we have had these kind of waves which have been coming in. People start with theatre and then they move on to the television and then cinema. But of late we have seen a lot of people from cinema coming back to theatre, and it's very interesting because the explanation they give is that the pulse lies there. and they get the satisfaction doing theatre again. So they earn their money there and they've come back again to do theatre.
Of course. Also on that same topic, Doctor, have you had any cinema experience in terms of your theatrical career?
I wouldn't say cinema, but I've done some corporate films for some friends and things like that.
Okay.
And while in school and partly in college, I was on stage, but I don't think I moved on. My career basically my profession didn't really permit me to pursue that. But I think writing has been a passion, and I was able to channelize that through journalism and writing for and doing translations. I've done a lot of translations.
There is a reason that I asked you that question. Now, in your opinion, what would you think it would be more challenging? Is it stage acting or acting in front of a camera?
These are different mediums altogether, so I don't think we can really compare and what's challenging, because the eyes are different, the camera eye is different, and doing stage work is completely different. So these are different forms, different mediums, and they have their own charms. So the excitement is also different in both the things.
And needless to say, I'm sure you like the stage more.
It's interesting. It's live. It changes every single day. So I think it's more, and from that point of view, I think it's more demanding.
Okay. The other question that I want to ask you is, I mean, when I did first have a look at your profile, I was quite intrigued. I mean, you are a doctor, you are a practicing doctor. At the same time, you're a translator, a researcher, a scholar, you teach theatre, and you do so many things. How do you really balance it all?
I mean, this is something which people have been asking me on and off, but I always feel that the problem which we all go through is that we compartmentalize our lives, you know. Like, okay, fine, he's a doctor, so he's not to be in the arts, or he's an engineer, he's not to be doing these kind of things. But I think it's an ongoing process, and you can't really break out things. Very, very simply, people do ask about my profession as a dentist, and I said, you know, creating a smile, isn't it a piece of art? And communicating with your patients, talking, it's a stage activity. I mean, you are trying to convince, you are able to share your emotions, the angst of the patient sitting in the dental chair. I mean, it's all very, very dramatic.
Needless to say, I love the way you think about life, and it was actually a very interesting discussion that I did have with you. Unfortunately, we don't have much time to continue this discussion, even though I would love to continue on. But just before we wrap up this segment, Doctor, is there anything you'd like to say, tell our viewers?
Oh, I think we look forward to everyone coming for the festival and watching performances from across the world beyond languages, not really getting worried, trying to be there and network, and I think make more and more friends and make this world smaller.
Well, as we speak, I believe the inauguration is taking place at the Colombo International Theatre Festival, and I'm sure you are eager to head over there as well. So I suppose you'll have to run along as fast as you can just after the show is over. But of course, I do need to thank you a lot for being with us in the studio and sharing your thoughts with you. It was a pleasure having you this morning, and I do sincerely hope that you enjoy the rest of your stay in Sri Lanka. So thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We're going in for a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.